So yeah, this one is the first one. The downfall of villains. Though I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain, I'm almost very certain that the title of this video was once the pussification of villains. I could be wrong. By the way, this video is by Toon. Yeah, we'll see what this is about.
One of the saddest things happening in cinema right now is the pussification of villain.
I knew it. I knew that the title of this video was different. I knew it. It was the pussification of villains. I agree. Yeah, I actually agree. I very much agree that is the case. Because too many villains out here have morals. Like, what is this? I'm like the stuff like I'm a genocidal maniac. But I would never be I don't know, a bigot. I'm like, bro, you're evil. You would do anything to achieve your goal. What is this?
Bad guys aren't allowed to be bad anymore.
There are also, I don't think in recent times there's like a villain, like a real villain who's like actually looks the part.
The fearless and charismatic Scar, for example. He was diluted into a misunderstood villain in the live-action remake of Lion King. Ralph, our beloved protagonist.
Let's not. The prequel of The Lion King is not canon. In general, the live-action versions are not canon. I don't care what anybody else says. They're not canon. They haven't happened. They will never happen. That is what I believe. Villains can't be evil anymore because they have to be politically correct. That is the funny part. I've seen this oftentimes where like people complain about villains being like doing villainous shit. Like, what do you expect them to be good? In the age that villain female characters have this main focus, still bad writing can't save anyone. True.
From Wreck-It Ralph was turned into a villain in its sequel, with a feel-good message attached about codependency and insecurity. So, what happened? When did evil get so soft? And which studios still have the balls to push back? We can't talk about how weak villains have become.
You know what's funny about Wish? You know what's funny about the Wish movie? That the guy isn't even like the villain isn't even evil. Bro isn't evil. He has a power. It's his power. He decides which wishes are granted and which won't be granted. Also for safety reasons. In addition to that, Shua also not to threaten his power, but he's not evil. The protagonist is actually the evil one, in my opinion. That's how it looks for me.
Without reminding ourselves how fierce they used to be. At first, no one did villains like Disney. Absolutely no one. Scar, Jafar, Judge Frollo.
This guy is such a good character. Hellfire is such a good song. That song is still so good, man. They did. This is truly one of the villains of all time for real. Re-evils in Game of Thrones, Dan and Dave.
Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, Gaston, Ursula, you name it. But they weren't alone. DreamWorks had Lord Farquaad, the Fairy Godmother, Militia Tweety, and so many others. Even smaller producers like Turner Feature Animation gave us a taste of evil like Darla Dimple. All these villains had one thing in common: balls. And
I'd say Death is still pretty good. I like him. That man has aura. Wolf, whatever. In my opinion, villainous characters are so much more fun to write, especially when you let them be evil. True. The Saw movie has my favorite villain. Yeah, that's also, to be fair, Saw does have it's very much its downfall.
They were unapologetic about it. Take Ursula, a masterclass in villainy built on cunning and manipulation. She's driven by pure lust for power. She has no
And she looks like my grandma. That's actually no joke.
business with you pitying or understanding her past, even though she is a sea witch cast out from King Triton's court. Her only concern now is dominance, first by preying on the desperate and naive. She deceives Ariel with a seemingly fair deal, all the while orchestrating a plan to dethrone Triton and rule the seas herself.
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
Her defining moment comes when she seizes Triton's trident, transforming into a towering monster that blots out the ocean light. She is chaos incarnate, and she revels in it. There is no
Fright Mermaid. Fright Mermaid. For real. Yeah, villains now. What is a really good villain nowadays? I can't think of any Western ones. That's already a problem. I can't think of any Western ones. Really.
remorse, no hesitation, just cruelty. Pat Carroll's voice gives her a commanding presence, every word dripping with theatrical menace. And that's another great thing with these classic villains. Aside from their unapologetic wickedness, they had the charming presence that made the audience love them.
You know also why some villains that could be good are not good? I'm gonna straight up say it. Voice actors. Voice actors. It is for real voice actors. And I think that's due to a reason that instead of like actually trained professional voice actors, we hire content creators, social media influencers. No longer actual voice actors.
Sometimes even more than they love the hero. Just look at Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. On the surface, he's the perfect man by village standards. Handsome, strong, and admired by all. But beneath that facade lies narcissism so deep, it borders on sociopathy.
Wow, you didn't miss a shot, Gaston! You're the greatest hunter in the whole world!
I know.
Gaston cannot fathom being rejected, and Belle's refusal drives him to dangerous obsession. His motivations are rooted in entitlement. He believes he deserves everything he wants simply because of who he is. And when manipulation fails, he turns violent, rallying the villagers into a mob to kill the beast. His final moments, trying to kill the beast before falling, are the perfect embodiment of his arrogance meeting its end. But let's not forget his anthem, Gaston, a boastful celebration of ego and a summation of his motivations. Back then, every villain had theme songs which were power plays, musical declarations.
That's also very true. That is also very true. Like I said, a lot of like these older songs from Disney are just peak. They just are. They're great. It's an orange slime and not the blue one. Are you referring to Leaflet? I can't even find her. Like I can't even look at her channel anymore. It doesn't pop up if I type in her name on YouTube. That's crazy. Western of Nothing. Last 2 decades, they're just retelling stories. But they are just retelling stories, remaking stories. Not even remaking entire stories, because, you know, some of the parts might offend somebody.
Of war. Remember how Scar paraded his plan like a manifesto through Be Prepared?
A shining new era, tiptoeing nearer.
These songs gave us direct access to the villain's mindset. Frollo's Hellfire summarized everything he is.
Be Prepared in German is so peak. Be Prepared in German is so peak. I don't care what anybody says. This is literally the best version. I do not care. Correction, the great VA and song work only on a good villain, obviously. The blue one, I meant to remember Tempest. Oh, that blue one. Well, I haven't watched that anime, so I wouldn't know.
A self-righteous fanatic who doesn't see his faults, but is quick to blame others for theirs, real or imagined.
It's not my fault. I'm not to blame.
These songs raised the stakes. They told you exactly what the villain wanted and made it impossible to look away. We don't even have to tell you about how theme songs have gotten worse over the years. The internet is full of it. The music seems to be in a downtrend, but more importantly than music of the past, villains provided conflict, which created tension. This is what Scar did to Simba. As a cub, Simba was dumb and naive, but he was also eager and brave because he had the security of Mufasa, who told him every time that he was next in line.
My dad just showed me the whole kingdom, and I'm gonna rule it all.
So, what did Scar do to that security? He
Took it away. Got rid of Mufasa. I still hate what they did to the Lion King. I really hate it. I really hate it. I hate it so much what they did to Lion King. I hate it. With a passion. This weird prequel is so ass. Hellfire, one of the darkest songs I've ever heard. Also, hello. Hi, Jody. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Hello. Irrelevant, but having him sing It's Not My Fault while the chorus shouts Mea culpa was peak. Okay. It's just, these old songs are just peak.
He kills it and plants self-doubt in Simba. Now, the kid doesn't think he should be king anymore. That was the conflict. It was that Simba, the hero, had to overcome, and when he eventually did, it was cathartic. Then, in Shrek 2, DreamWorks gave us a different kind of conflict. The fairy godmother pretends to be the helpful hand in a fairy tale.
Oh, sweet pea, I'm your fairy godmother.
But her smile hides blackmail, manipulation, and ambition. She once helped the king only to threaten to take it back unless her son Charming marries Fiona. She tries love potions, traps Shrek and friends, and aims to break hearts with clever cruelty. She looks cute.
It's still funny that Shrek, without being an ogre, is actually attractive. I still find that so funny. I still find that funny. It's just hilarious. And Donkey is a horse later. Didn't even watch the Mufasa movie. I don't recommend it. What did they do? Basically, they turned Scar into a misunderstood villain, relatable, actually not evil. It's terrible. It's terrible because mea culpa means it's my fault. I'm the culprit. You know, it's like his subconscious. Yeah. Okay, I get it. He's attractive as an ogre. Whatever. Fine, have your ogre. Go ahead, Fiona. Dragon turns into a unicorn.
Cute, but man, is the fairy godmother a badass villain. But then, something changed and animated studios chose to give the good versus evil formula a fresh spin. There were those who did well with the subversion of the classical villains only because of one reason, which we'll talk about later. First, we need to cover up how there were some studios who were completely horrible. In their attempt to try something new, they ruined everything by pussifying our precious villains. And how they did this is both tragic and annoying. Modern cinema, and Disney in particular, has become adept at pussifying its villains, a process that robs them of their power, their purpose, and their very narrative teeth. The result is a loss of dramatic tension and a shift in the hero's journey from a battle for survival to an empathetic therapy session. The villains are...
I would even argue that because of that, there's also no real hero's journey, right? There is no journey for the hero really anymore. Like, they start out and end as somebody completely different, a changed person. That really doesn't happen all that much anymore. Can't have an ogre, so have a 30-year-old instead. Whatever you like. Kind of funny because I'm playing as an orc in Skyrim. Nice.
No longer forces to be stopped, they are people who need to be understood. Evil has lost its edge, becoming fashionable and understandable. Take King Magnifico from Wish. He checks some boxes. He's a vain sorcerer like Maleficent and has the arrogance of Gaston, but he is ultimately watered down by a narrative that feels both toothless and confused. His theme song, "This Is the Thanks I Get," is a perfect illustration. The tone undercuts the threat, and the song opens with bright pop-friendly beats and vocals that are fit for a lullaby.
I give the clothes off Benito back if you really needed that.
While the bridge of the song briefly hints at
The movie's problem is that the chick feels more like the actual villain than the villain. That's the problem. This lady feels more like the villain than the actual villain. That's my problem. That is the problem, actually. That is exactly the problem. That's why this movie also failed. Like, the guy had actual justifiable reasons why you wouldn't just grant any wish. I actually like the Maleficent movies. Not sure about you guys, though. I like the first one. The first one was solid. I haven't watched the second one, so I wouldn't know. The misunderstood villain trope is dead, but Hollywood hasn't got the funeral invite yet. I think Hollywood needs the funeral, I think. Hollywood needs to be the one. The main actor in that funeral.
At the classic villain's darkness, it quickly returns to its upbeat, radio-friendly sound, preventing the audience from ever truly fearing him. This vibe-check villainy is a far cry from the classical ones we grew up watching. Remember all that critique on that song you saw previously? Yeah, it's all on point. But King Magnifico is the least pussified villain on this list. The way that every villain has to be redeemed
When he is the least, we have a problem.
nowadays is probably the worst. It's like they chickened out of a fight because they were scared of getting killed. Luckily, Magnifico wasn't afraid of being redeemed. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about Namaari in Raya and the Last Dragon. She starts off as a cunning, manipulative foil to Raya, pretending to be a friend, only to betray her in a way that shatters the entire world. Every step of the story reinforces her as the one obstacle standing between the heroes and peace. But then, at the climax, the film walks it all back, turning her into a misunderstood ally in the final minutes. In our opinion, Namaari shouldn't have been redeemed. If she was written as the villain who was irredeemable, it would have been.
I don't like this movie. No matter how pretty it looks, I don't like this movie. And I think that's also due to I have only watched the German dub. And it's all YouTubers. All animation movies here in Germany are dubbed. Not with actual voice actors, but influencers. It is so ass. It is so ass. It is horrible. The only time you have actual professional voice actors doing professional voice work nowadays is for anime, and I find that hilarious. We don't talk about Bruno. Has been the only good villain song lately, but Bruno didn't even turn out to be a bad guy. To be the bad guy, okay. You guys heard of the COD movie announcement? Praying they don't fuck it up. Oh, they will. They will. I feel like any game adaptation that is not Sonic is actually cooked every single time. I'm not expecting much from the Street Fighter movie either.
Perfect. This would have meant more stakes and more tension. The writers could have said that despite her mother poisoning her mind with a sense of duty for her tribe, she still had the choice to be good. But guess what? She chose to be bad because, we don't know, she wanted the power that came with it? This wouldn't be so far-fetched because, in real life, people are wicked and selfish, regardless of their upbringing. Not to trash the whole idea of learning to trust because, let's face it, it does make sense that trust is important to move a society forward. Though Namaari never did anything to earn that trust until the very last minute. Boone and Little Noi were untrustworthy at first, but over time they earned Raya's trust. This was never the case for Namaari. This softening of villains is even more painfully evident in live-action remakes, which seem determined to dilute and sanitize every classic antagonist. More than 80 years after the initial release of the original Snow White, the remake—
Oh no, Lord Farquaad! Lord Farquaad the movie, oh no. Oh no, it's Hollywood, baby. Weird, weird. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. The reason this movie died is with this woman. Is because of this woman. And Gal Gadot's bad acting. Though that's probably not her fault. That's probably the one running it. That messed it up to appease the fangirls. True. There's a good shit. Yeah. Possibly.
Hit theaters. With it was the sad pussification of our dearly beloved evil queen.
Transform my beauty into ugliness. Change my queenly raiment to a peddler's cloak.
In the remake of Snow White, Gal Gadot's evil queen becomes a mere fashion statement.
Snow White and the 7 CGI abominations.
The original queen was defined by her iconic, consistent, and menacing design, which she rarely strayed from. Gadot's queen, however, is given a variety of elaborate outfits, making her seem more like a supermodel than a monarch consumed by jealousy. What was even worse is that this new queen, despite Gadot's best efforts, is poorly written, lacking the gravitas.
There's something even worse. There's something even worse that should be mentioned. The evil queen is more attractive than Snow White, while Snow White is supposed to be more attractive, more beautiful. Huge problem.
And dramatic villainy that made the original so compelling. We are not even going to talk about how cringy she looks while singing.
Sweet potion, you must.
The script tries to give her a slightly expanded backstory, but it feels superficial, reducing her to a one-dimensional antagonist. The same can be said for Scar in the remake of The Lion King, whose legend was also painfully diluted. The original Scar was a master manipulator, a theatrical and cunning schemer whose every line dripped with venom and charisma. The remake's version is a more grounded, realistic antagonist, but he lacks the theatricality.
It's not just that, right? With this style, they cannot convey the emotions of the original. They can't. With this style is super stiff to actually convey the emotions that the original had. And that's a lot of live action remakes from Disney, where the original is much better due to it being animated at conveying emotions. There's a big reason why I hate these. And that's because the emotion is just gone. That's just the truth. There's no I watched this and I felt nothing. But to be fair, that's most modern Western media now. There's a reason why all the streaming services are so hard on anime. It's because Western media can't really compete at all. OG Scar's on the Hear Me Out list for real? Hold up.
And sheer presence that made the animated Scar so memorable. His villainy feels less like a chosen path and more like a consequence of his circumstances.
Then call me Scar, so I will never forget.
The film gives him a backstory involving his jealousy of Mufasa and his feelings of inadequacy, but this added layer of psychological realism only serves to diminish the raw, unapologetic evil that made the original so terrifying.
Oh, now look, Zazu, you made me lose my lung.
Instead of being a unique character in his own right, he becomes a tired archetype. The bitter younger brother who lives in the shadow of his elder sibling. The legend of Scar was not a tragic one, it was one of pure, unadulterated evil, and the remake stripped him of that iconic status. In modern storytelling, we've surrendered genuine villains for weak ones. The formula says, give a tragic backstory, then wrap it in redemption. But real stakes usually require irredeemable evil. You don't need every antagonist to be a monster, but you do need one that threatens, that refuses to bend a knee. It's not about relatability, but about being compelling. Now, villains are melodramatic and cute, and evil that looks good
I need an evil character that is just evil for the heck of it. I just need a villain that is just straight up malicious, that does not care what he or she needs to do to achieve her goal or his goal. I do not care. I need a villain that is straight up just a monster who does not give a fuck. I need that. Thank you. I need that. I need somebody who just, I don't know, pulls up to heaven and tries to kill his former victims again. That's the kind of villain I need. Unredeemable evil, yet they cast someone that ugly Snow White. Yeah, this is just nobody likes that woman. Nobody.
usually doesn't feel wrong. But do you know what's really crazy? A few decades back, misunderstood villains weren't exactly a bad thing. It's the writing. There was another studio who created villains who were not purely evil like Ursula or Maleficent, and guess what? Their villains made sense. The studio that made them was not in America or even in Europe, but far, far away. Enter Studio Ghibli, one of the few studios to have mastered the art of the misunderstood antagonist. Their films often avoid traditional Western structure. Many follow a 4-act rhythm without direct conflict, placing mood and growth above action and consequence. The 1988 movie My Neighbor Totoro, for example, has no villain at all.
Totoro?
These movies are just, by the way, these movies are timeless. Studio Ghibli movies are just timeless. They just are. Straight up. There's no denial on that. They just are. This is peak. I can watch I like Princess Mononoke. I can watch that movie over and over. And it's still great. It's still great. Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite. It is just so peak. I love this one. I love it. I love it. It's just great. Rachel's ugly, but she doesn't fit Snow White. Yeah, she's still ugly. Just for the heck of it. I loved Howl's Moving Castle. That is my favorite. That was the first Studio Ghibli one I saw. But yeah, I have Princess Mononoke. I still have it as well. Though I do have it on VHS. Did watch Spirited Away. I haven't watched all of them yet either. Maybe I should do that.
Oh, is that what your name is? Totoro?
The tension comes from life itself. Sickness, uncertainty, loneliness. What makes this bold is the emotional richness that fills the space where a villain would usually stand. That's a radical move, especially when Hollywood still clung to mustache twirlers and damsels in distress. But when Ghibli does include antagonists, they are carefully designed. Princess Mononoke gives us Lady Eboshi, who is compassionate toward lepers and former prostitutes, but also merciless towards ancient forests. She's driven rather than evil in the classical villain sense. You don't understand her choices, even when you disagree. In the end, when she is redeemed, it felt right. A few years after this, Ghibli gave us Yubaba from Spirited Away, a sorceress who traps people in her bathhouse and steals their names.
He's destroying everything. It's costing us a fortune.
She's selfish, controlling, and a capitalist nightmare, but she's also a mother, a businesswoman, and she's kind of fair. Chihiro survives by understanding her, not defeating her. And then there's Colonel Muska from Laputa Castle in the Sky.
That one I haven't watched. That one I have not watched. Might check it out later. You should. I didn't watch the first part of Spirited Away on TV back then. Okay.
Is probably the only Ghibli villain who's not offered redemption. Muska's a symbol of militarism and imperialism. His desire to weaponize the floating city of Laputa is less about ego and more about the eternal human hunger to dominate.
No matter how great your technology might be, the world cannot live without love.
Therefore, when Pazu and Shita destroy the city's weapons and send Muska to his death, it's out of necessity.
I also have to say, I want to have like old style anime back. I really do. I think they should bring back this aesthetic for some projects in the future. Why not? Doesn't have to be a full anime season, but like, come on. Some of the like old style anime is just so good. It's just so good. I don't know, maybe I'm just a nostalgia driven idiot, but man, some of the older style is just so good. Now thinking back, I should have stayed and watched the rest, possibly. Yubaba was a good character. Yep.
As Eastern storytelling teaches, villains are often systems in human form. They must be confronted, understood, or destroyed depending on what they threaten. Ghibli respects that moral scale. This is where Disney has fumbled. It sees the success of sympathetic villains, but misses why they work. It confuses empathy with excuses. It keeps writing bad guys like therapy patients instead of threats. And in doing so, it strips its stories of weight. Pixar at least still remembers how to handle it. Look at Lotso from Toy Story.
There has been a recent hype online around The Incredibles and especially Syndrome. I don't know where it came from, but man, I've seen some of the bonus disc. I've seen some of what the bonus disc had, right? With like the hero interviews. And the Incredibles lore is kind of deep. It's so weird. The horror movie, everyone should watch it. Not the best one though. Honestly, prefer newer art style. Newer art style can be good, but the older one does have a good charm. Or I can't make this up. I'm wearing a Lotso PJ set. I can't do this. That's funny. Toy Story 3 is heartbreaking. Yep.
3. He has a backstory. He was abandoned by his owner Daisy and replaced. But instead of becoming a tragic figure, he chooses bitterness. He builds a prison out of a daycare. He smells like strawberries, but he rules like a tyrant. Woody calls him out directly, saying that lots of toys have been abandoned, but Lotso chose to become cruel.
She don't love you no more. Now come on!
That's the key. His past explains his behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. He's a warning about what Woody might have become if he never learned to let go. Lotso is a perfect foil. He mirrors Woody's worst potential self, which makes the final conflict personal.
Where's your kid now, Sheriff?
When he refuses to save the toys from the incinerator, it lands because he could have, but he still didn't. That moment reinforces that even a character with a sob story can still be beyond redemption. Pixar doesn't flinch from that truth. And Pixar isn't the only one. There are 2 more studios who have consistently refused to pussify their antagonists. They understand that storytelling thrives on genuine conflict, and that a villain's purpose is to embody the protagonist's fears, weaknesses, and anxieties, not to serve as a cautionary tale about misunderstood trauma. We're of course talking about DreamWorks and Sony Pictures Animation. In recent years, DreamWorks even gave us—
Yeah, Death from Puss in the Boots is a good one, yep. Well, we do. Some can still produce good villains, I guess. He was mean to Big Baby. She don't love you no more. It's when me and my mom were at a supermarket arcade and we saw Buzz Lightyear as a reward of a game. We unfortunately didn't get it. Damn, Sag. Disappointment immeasurable, day ruined. I'm still a bit salty when thinking at it. Back at it. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I could see that.
Not one, but 3 villains in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Disney can't seem to write one, and DreamWorks dropped a whole trio. That's an open challenge to them. Starting with Death. He is a personal hunter, stalking Puss because of his reckless waste of 8 lives. Now he is here for payback, and he enjoys it.
I just love the smell of fear.
That choice makes him far scarier because it's not about the natural order, but about a vendetta. The fear he creates in Puss forces him to confront mortality for the first time in his 9 lives. Puss doesn't kill Death. He learns to live with him, literally and symbolically overcoming his fear.
You know we will meet again, right? Sí, hasta la muerte.
Then there's Big Jack Horner, who might be one of the most unapologetically evil villains DreamWorks has ever created.
He reminds me of a little of Little Nightmares. He does remind me of Little Nightmares. The first one, right? Where like all the fat people on the ship. That's what he reminds me of. Horrible. It's the video I send. Yep, the title change there from the pussification of villains to the downfall of villains. That's going on onto the heart here on the Hear Me Out list as well.
The man has no redeemable qualities, no tragic backstory meant to make you feel bad for him. He's just a greedy, self-absorbed man-child with bottomless entitlement. His lines sell exactly who he is.
You're not gonna shoot a puppy, Jack? Yeah, in the face. Why?
Or, even better.
Okay, that's a good line.
So cute! Think that would work on me. Don't you know I'm dead inside?
That's pure villain joy. The humor comes from amplifying how gleefully awful he is. When Disney was busy erasing edges from its bad guys, DreamWorks doubled down on making a villain who would step on the edges, set them on fire, and laugh while doing it. But let's not forget Goldilocks and the Three Bears. While Goldie ends up as a hero by the end, her initial role complicates Puss's quest. She starts as a rival with her own selfish motivations, before her arc takes a more empathetic turn. DreamWorks manages to give you a character who can evolve without diluting the threat of the other 2 villains. Sony also had a similar movie with 3 distinct threats in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There's Kingpin, a crime boss willing to tear apart dimensions to get his—
What are these builds? What are these builds? Sometimes I have to question. They are actually, now that I take it into consideration, people are correct. We have like just normal women, and then dudes that are built like this. What is that build? How do you achieve that? What do you need to do? Do I need to swallow a planet? Stop sighing at me. Let me live in peace. Goldilocks. It's the first time I'm hearing her English name. Appears to be the case.
His family back, the Prowler, whose personal connection to Miles makes their fight heartbreaking, and Dr. Octavia, who's brilliant, unpredictable, and ruthless. Each villain adds—
And she looks like she has tentacles from hentai.
Makes their fight heartbreaking, and Dr. Octavia.
Those looks are straight hentai. I'm sorry. Like even worse than anything I've seen so far.
Yeah, who's brilliant, unpredictable, and ruthless. Each villain adds a different kind of pressure on Miles, keeping the stakes varied and alive. The sequel, Across the Spider-Verse, doubles down. The Spot begins as a joke but evolves into a terrifying multidimensional threat. At the same time, Miguel O'Hara becomes an antagonist through his unyielding belief in keeping the canon intact. Then, surprise, surprise, an alternate Miles Morales brings a personal, emotional layer to the conflict. That's 3 more villains, all with clear motivations and real stakes. Now, if you want another deep dive into modern villains, go check out why people are wrong about Dawn Bellwether, and how she almost became Disney's greatest twist villain.
Yeah, almost, but, that didn't happen, too bad. Yep, I agree. We need better villains. There's no denial about it. There's no denial about it. We need better villains. That's very simple. Give me an actual malicious beast. Give me a straight up monster. Give me somebody that just does it for the love of the game. I don't know who does it, but I need one. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.